Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Investing Explained. Here's today's question. How important is it for a new investor or somebody that's looking to house hack? How important is it for them to consider the numbers of the investment property when they move out, right? Because if you don't think about that, could you buy a house hack that's really good as a house hack when you're living there, but when you move out and you move on to your next deal and it's an actual investment property, maybe it isn't so great?
So usually it tends to work better when you move out, right? Because you're occupying a room and you're living for free in that room. So when you move out, you can then rent your room that you were living in, and now that place is totally cash flowing, the $500 or $600 more that you were occupying. Now, if you do not want to do the rent by the room, if you're doing the rent by the room strategy, right? This is kind of the only time where it's a little bit different, where it's like that's like the biggest difference, right? If you have your own unit, it's easy to rent out, no problem. But if you're doing that single family rent by the room strategy, you kind of have to figure out, okay, do you want to manage this by the room? If yes, then great. If not, can someone else do it for you? If you can't find anyone else to do it for you, then you have to rent it out as like a full unit, and you probably won't get as much money for that full unit, but you just kind of have to work the numbers out. I would recommend making sure your numbers work both as a rent by the room rental and as well as if you're to rent it out as a full unit with you not living there.
Do you generally leave it as a rent by the room when you move out, or do you traditionally move it to a traditional rental?
I always leave it rent by the room. I found a property manager actually that does rent by the room. So I don't really deal with all the crap. I just, pay her a couple $100 a month to handle it.
And so when you move out, tenants aren't worried about somebody else coming in. They're okay with that agreement?
Yeah, well, the woman is a property manager, right? So this is her job. And I always just say hey, this woman is way more professional than me. She does her job way better than me. She is a property manager. So she's got her stuff together way more than I would. And she's probably way nicer than me as well. So I just kind of lay that out in front of them, and they kind of are like, okay, they're getting a better deal out of it. It's probably better that they don't see that, most people don't want to live with their landlord. They don't want the landlord to be overshadowing, right? So I haven't had any problems with that.
It's really interesting to hear you say that, because I thought that when people house hacked and they eventually moved out, I was thinking that most people would convert it to a traditional rental and not necessarily kick those people out, but align the expiration of their lease with when they plan on leaving, and then just filling it with a normal lease for the whole property rather than just by the room.
Yeah, I think most people do that, right? I just figured hey, why not just try it this way? I mean, I've already got all the common areas furnished. So if I had to do that, I'd have to take out all the furniture. It's way more of a pain than just to take my stuff out of my room and just have someone come in and go to my spot.
Yeah, I guess it's a little different too, right? You're looking at 5-6 bedroom houses with 2-3 bathrooms. That's much larger than I think probably a lot of people are looking for originally. They're probably looking at more like 2-3, maybe 4 bedroom properties, which I guess is probably easier to rent to a family through a traditional lease than maybe a 5 or 6 bedroom house. That's all for this episode of Real Estate Investing Explained. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or subscribe to our YouTube channel to get even more free content.